His character was a redneck who hit oil and became a millionaire. On the other hand, Buddy Ebsen's latter years were anything but a fairy tale throughout his lifetime. A home that had been abandoned and a trail of unresolved questions were left behind after the death of the beloved Beverly Hillbilly celebrity, who passed away under peaceful and mournful circumstances. Fans have never imagined that his family life, money, and dying wishes present a picture that is significantly more terrible than they are. This is the narrative of Jed Clampett's real-life farewell that has never been recounted before. However, the component of Buddy Ebsen's life that deserves the greatest attention is not his professional life, but rather his personal life. When Buddy Ebsen's marriage to Ruth Cambridge took place in 1936, it marked the beginning of a crucial new chapter. In his personal life, they got married, and it was the beginning of his journey toward becoming a family man. Over the course of their marriage, the couple was blessed with 2 daughters, who were the focal point of a significant portion of their family life. Unfortunately, despite the early promise and the expansion of their family, the marriage ultimately resulted in the couple's decision to divorce. Ebsen's first marriage ended in divorce, which was a defining moment in his life. Nonetheless, this did not lessen his want for love or for a family. After a period of 9 years, in 1945, Ebsen rediscovered love and wed Nancy Walcott, a fellow lieutenant whom he had most likely met during his time in the military. This marriage lasted for a significantly longer period of time and resulted in a larger family. Together, they are the proud parents of 4 daughters and a son, and they have created a dynamic family that is full of the joys and tribulations that come with having children. Kiki Ebsen was one of their offspring, and she would go on to establish her own distinctive reputation as a gifted musician and artist, so continuing on the creative tradition that her family had established. The fact that Nancy and Buddy's marriage has lasted for almost 40 years is evidence of their strong connection and unwavering dedication despite the passage of time. Nevertheless, even long-lasting relationships are not immune to difficulties, and in 1985, after 39 years of being together, they divorced once more, bringing an end to their marriage. Due to the fact that Ebsen had spent a big portion of his adult life tending to his huge family with Nancy by his side, this occurrence signified the end of a significant era in his life. Kiki, Kathy, and Bonnie, Ebsen's children from this marriage, formed a shared enthusiasm that may have been a reflection of the family's connection to the values of discipline and dedication. All 3 of them went on to become successful horsewomen. Their accomplishments in the realm of equestrian competition demonstrated a combination of athleticism, grace, and determination, characteristics that were reminiscent of their father's lifelong interest in many aspects of physical fitness and performance. The following year, in 1985, Buddy Ebsen began a new relationship with Dorothy Doy Nott, who was 40 years younger than him. This occurred not long after his divorce from Nancy, which had occurred earlier in the year, compared to his previous marriages. This third marriage was characterized by a distinct personality. Despite the fact that this marriage did not result in any offspring, it did provide him with a new companionship in the last years of his life. Ebsen's life was enriched with a new dynamic thanks to Doy, who provided him with support as he navigated his senior years with vigor and zest. Outside of his personal relationships, Buddy Ebsen led a life that was immensely varied and filled with several hobbies that represented his multifaceted nature. In particular, his enthusiasm for folk art stood out among these. Ebsen was a folk artist who exhibited his creativity via painting and crafts. This was a passion that may have been tied to the artistic atmosphere that his mother fostered when he was a child. It was a private pleasure for him to create folk art, but it was also an extension of the expressive abilities that had defined a significant portion of his career. His passion for coin collecting was another one of his notable hobbies. Ebsen's interest in numismatics was not only a casual pastime by any stretch of the imagination. Alongside the actor Chris A.L., he was one of the individuals who, in 1987, established the Beverly Hills Coin Club. This initiative was a serious endeavor. Collecting lovers and enthusiasts who shared a passion for rare and precious coins joined together to form this club, which became a gathering place for them. Ebsen's personal collection was remarkable, consisting of rare and precious items such as a $4 gold coin that was estimated to be worth an astounding $200,000. It was widely believed that his collection was a treasure trove, and it was in high demand. Before and after his death, portions of it were sold at a variety of auctions, giving others the opportunity to understand and appreciate the magnificent artifacts that he had accumulated over the course of his life. Ebsen continued to exhibit the energy and interest that had marked a significant portion of his life, even as he neared his 90s, due to the amazing level of activity he maintained throughout his life. He accomplished a great creative milestone by publishing his best-selling novel, Kelly's Quest, 2 years before he passed away. This novel was a significant achievement for him. This achievement highlighted his talent not only as an artist and performer, but also as a storyteller who is capable of engaging readers with storylines that are compelling. In addition to Kelly's Quest, Ebsen has written a number of other works which demonstrates the variety of his interests through his writing. Polynesian Concept was one of these books. It was a book that explored sailing and maritime adventures, and it reflected the author's passion regarding the sea and travel. In addition, he wrote his autobiography, which was titled The Other Side of Oz. This book provides readers with an honest and intimate look into his incredible life and career, thereby increasing his literary portfolio. In order to combine his acting profession with his passion for storytelling, he created the mystery thriller Sizzling Cold Case, which was inspired by his role as the detective Barnaby Jones. In terms of politics, Ebsen was a supporter of Barry Goldwater during the presidential election in the United States in 1964. He aligned himself with the conservative campaign of Arizona senators during a turbulent moment in the history of American politics. Buddy. Ebsen's life was brought to a calm conclusion on July 6, 2003, when he passed away at Torrance Memorial Medical Center in Torrance, California, due to respiratory failure. With 95 years under his belt, his longevity is evidence that he led a life that was well lived, one that was characterized by resiliency, creativity, and an unending enthusiasm for the myriad adventures that life has to offer. In the aftermath of his passing, Ebsen was laid to rest at Pacific Crest Cemetery in Rundo Beach, California. This tranquil final resting place was located in close proximity to the neighborhood that he had considered his home. Buddy Ebsen's assets have garnered the attention of a great number of people, especially when it comes to real estate. The first is the house he attended as a child. During the early years of his youth, he resided in a home that was unassuming but yet remarkable. It was situated at 805 Lebanon Avenue in Belleville, Illinois. This brick house, which included 2 stories and was located in a peaceful hamlet in the Midwest, was more than just a place to live. It was a location that profoundly influenced the formative experiences of a young kid who would go on to become a well-liked figure in the entertainment industry in the United States. At the beginning of the 20th century, Ebsen and his family lived there until he was 10 years old. They were immersed in the rhythms of everyday life and the small-town charm that Belleville was the only place in the world to provide. The home itself was a classic building of the age. It was solid and simple, and it had a warm and welcome presence that represented the personality of the family that lived there. In particular, Buddy's father, Christian Ludolf Ebsen, Sr., who was not only the head of the household, but also a man of significant creative energy and discipline, was the head of the Ebsen family, and it stood as a tribute to the values and goals of the Ebsen family. Christian Sr. was a dancer by profession, and he had a profound interest in artistic expression and physical culture. His influence infiltrated the ways in which the family lived their lives, as well as the very fabric of their home. The backyard was one of the most treasured elements of their property, and it was a place that was dear to the hearts of not only the families, but also the community because of its significance. In this location, Christian Sr. had constructed a swimming pool that was quickly referred to as Ebsen's Pond at the time. The swimming pool was more than simply a family luxury. It also performed a vital function for the community. Christian Sr. provided swimming lessons to children in the community, assisting them in acquiring a skill that is vital to their development in a setting that was both secure and supportive. In the course of time, Ebsen's Pond was eventually enlarged and transformed into the Belleville Swimming Pool, a public facility that served as a source of enjoyment and instruction for multiple generations of local inhabitants. However, despite the fact that the pool was eventually shut down many years later, its history continued to be connected to the Ebsen family's gift to their hometown. During the year 1918, when Buddy was approximately 10 years old, his family moved to Florida, which marked the conclusion of his boyhood years spent in Belleville, Illinois. His recollections of 805 Lebanon Avenue remained vivid and significant throughout his entire life, despite the fact that he had moved away from the location. This profound connection to his roots was vividly revealed many decades later when Buddy, Ebsen, at the age of 84, returned to Belleville for the first time in 7 decades. This was the first time he had been returning to Belleville. There was more to this homecoming than just a simple visit. An emotional journey back to the site where his life narrative had started was what he was experiencing. Ebsen was able to reconcile with the house in the neighborhood on this visit. Although the house had undergone some changes as a result of the passage of time, it continued to resonate with the echoes of his youth. During that time, John Kenny was the sole owner of the residence. However, it appeared as though the Ebsen family's soul continued to linger within its boundaries. During his journey through the rooms, Buddy reminisced about the life that had formerly occupied the area, including the sounds of children laughing, the teachings that his father had given him, and the early steps that he had taken toward a future in dance and entertainment. It was a profound moment of reunion for Ebsen after a lifetime of traveling, achieving popularity, and achieving artistic success. Stepping back inside was quite an emotional event for Ebsen. The visit was not only a private affair, but it was also a celebration for the neighborhood. Ebsen's existence brought happiness to the people who lived in the area, and they greeted their native boy with open arms when he returned. Ebsen pleased the crowd by performing a soft shoe dance routine at the local newspaper office. This was a beautiful throwback to his early days as a dancer and performer, and it was a charming expression of his early career. Not only was this performance nostalgic, but it was also moving. The town was reminded of the talent and tenderness that had once permeated their streets when he was a little child by the gift of elegance and humor that was shown to them. Since that time, the residence located at 805 Lebanon Avenue has continued to serve as a source of pride for the residents of Belleville. In 2014, the city honored Buddy Ebsen by placing him on its Walk of Fame. This was done in recognition of the tremendous achievements that he had made to the arts and his long-lasting connection to the town all throughout his life. The purpose of this public homage is to honor Ebsen's legacy and to ensure that future generations will have the opportunity to remember his humble origins. During the year 1965, Buddy Ebsen embarked on a huge personal undertaking that would go on to define a significant portion of the domestic landscape of his adult life. At the address 530 South Bay Front on Balboa Island in Newport Beach, California, he crafted a mansion that was designed in the mid-century modern style. This home was more than simply a place to sleep. It was a meticulously created sanctuary that reflected Ebsen's refined tastes, his appreciation for modern design, and his ambition to build a long-lasting family getaway on one of the most magnificent coastal enclaves in Southern California. The home itself was a statement in terms of architectural style and spatial design, and it encompassed around 4,500 square feet of living area. There were 6 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, making it possible to accommodate the requirements of a big family as well as regular guests in a manner that was both elegant and comfortable. Ebsen's home was strikingly modern and architecturally different. in contrast to the more frequent cottages and Cape Cod's-type homes that were scattered around Balboa Island. These homes were recognized for their pleasant, comfortable, and sometimes quirky look. The mid-century modern philosophy of integrating indoor and outdoor living, putting an emphasis on natural light, functionality, and simplicity was represented. In its clean lines, open spaces, and big windows, this property was distinguished by its unrivaled vantage point, which was one of its defining characteristics. Perched along the water's edge of Newport Harbor, the residence offered stunning panoramic views that captured the sparkling expanse of the Pacific Ocean, the historic Balboa Pavilion, and the shimmering city lights that danced across the coastal cityscape at night. These views were offered to residents of the neighborhood. The direct lines of sight from the Ebsen and his family had a profound connection to the ocean and the lively life of Newport Beach as a result of the home's enormous windows and terraces, which became a daily source of inspiration and peace for them. On Balboa Island, where space is at a premium and the majority of residences lack such luxury, the installation of a swimming pool was another notable feature that distinguished this home apart from its neighbors. This was something that was quite uncommon on the island. The pool was a private sanctuary, a place for relaxation and enjoyment, and it echoed the atmosphere of leisure that characterized a significant portion of coastal living in California during that century. Not only did Ebsen's house become a well-known landmark in the neighborhood because to its architectural uniqueness, but it also became a landmark due to the personality that he put into it. Throughout his time on Balboa Island, Ebsen was a well-liked and respected member of the community due to his kind and approachable demeanor. It became commonplace to see him wearing his distinctive red shirt, which served as a representation of his warm and approachable personality. Inside the living room, a prominent portrait of Ebsen, wearing a captain's hat, hung with pride, reflecting his lifelong affinity for nautical themes and a seafaring spirit. Beyond the aesthetics and decor, Ebsen embraced his role as a community member with warmth and generosity. One beloved tradition was his enthusiastic participation in local Halloween festivities, where he would personally hand out candy to children, delighting young residents and contributing to the island's family-friendly atmosphere. These simple acts of kindness endeared him to neighbors and cemented his place as not only a celebrity but a cherished local personality. The home remained Ebsen's residence for nearly 4 decades, witnessing the evolving chapters of his life until his death in 2003. However, the story of the house did not end with his passing. By 2013, the home was vacant, and it became the site of an unexpected and dramatic incident. A gas leak originating from a boat's fuel tank stored in the basement led to an explosion igniting from the pilot light of a water heater. Fortunately, the explosion caused only limited damage, primarily smoke infiltration in some areas, sparing the house from extensive structural harm. The event underscored the challenges of maintaining older homes with unique features, especially those situated near the water with associated storage needs. Following Ebsen's death and the years of vacancy, the property was placed on the market by his children. Initially listed at a staggering $9 million, the home's price was eventually reduced, and it was sold in August 2015 for $5 million. This sale marked the end of an era for the iconic mid-century modern residence, a treasured piece of Newport Beach history, and a symbol of Ebsen's lasting legacy. Despite its cultural and architectural significance, the home faced a difficult fate. The property was slated for demolition in 2016 to make way for a new structure, as retrofitting the existing building to comply with modern building codes and regulations was deemed impractical and cost-prohibitive. The decision to demolish the home sparked some lament among preservationists and fans of mid-century architecture. Yet, it also reflected the harsh realities of maintaining older homes in an era of increasingly stringent safety and environmental standards. In 1985, after decades of an illustrious career in film, television, and the arts, Buddy Ebsen and his Third wife Dorothy not made a significant move that would mark the final chapter of his residential life. They purchased a stunning home on Via Horia in Palos Verdes Estates, California for $950,000. A considerable sum at the time, but one well justified by the home's blend of architectural sophistication, expansive living space, and breathtaking views. The house, constructed just a few years earlier in 1981, was a spacious fourth 398ft residence designed to offer comfort and luxury while harmonizing with the serene beauty of the South Bay region. This four-bedroom, 3.5B home became a cherished sanctuary for Ebsen and Dorothy, providing a quiet refuge away from the hustle and bustle of Hollywood and the entertainment industry that had dominated much of Ebsen's life. One of the most remarkable features of the home was its location, perched high enough to afford sweeping vistas of some of Southern California's most iconic landscapes. From its vantage point, residents could enjoy panoramic views of the Palos Verdes Country Club, an elegant and lush green oasis known for its pristine golf courses and meticulously maintained grounds. Beyond the club, the eye could wander to the expansive waters of Santa Monica Bay, with the Pacific Ocean's vast blue horizon stretching seemingly endlessly, punctuated by sailboats, cargo ships, and the ever-changing dance of light on the water. The interior of the residence was equally impressive, a testament to both fine craftsmanship and thoughtful design. The grand living room was a centerpiece featuring magnificent Palladian windows that flooded the space with natural light while framing the picturesque outdoor scenes like living works of art. These windows, with their classic arches and symmetrical design, lent a sense of timeless elegance and openness to the home, inviting the outside in and creating a bright, airy atmosphere perfect for relaxation and entertaining guests. Complementing the living room was a luxurious library, a space where Ebsen could retreat to read, write, or immerse himself in reflection. The library's walls were lined with bookshelves filled with volumes spanning genres and interests that mirrored Ebsen's varied passions throughout his life, including history, sailing, mystery novels, and biographies. This sanctuary for the mind was both a private escape and a symbol of Ebsen's lifelong commitment to learning and creativity. The formal dining room added to the home's refined ambiance. Designed for elegant dinners and gatherings, it was a place where family and friends could come together to share meals and stories, celebrate milestones, and enjoy each other's company, in a setting that balanced sophistication with warmth. While the home exuded luxury, it was also deeply connected to the natural beauty and tranquility of the South Bay region. Palos Verdes Estates is known for its quiet streets, scenic walking trails, and a community-oriented lifestyle, all of which appealed to Ebsen's desire for a peaceful environment. Despite earlier advice from some managers and associates suggesting that the area was too far removed from the heart of Hollywood's entertainment scene, Ebsen had long dreamed of living in the South Bay. This move was an affirmation of his priorities in later life, valuing serenity, privacy, and a deeper connection to nature over proximity to studios and industry hubs. Ebsen's choice of this home reflected a man who had evolved over the years, embracing a lifestyle that honored both his legacy and his personal desires.